Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
God is so patient. Me, not so much. I thanked God continually when I was homeschooling that my kids were smart. Rarely did I have to teach them the same lesson twice when it came to schoolwork. My little sponges just soaked everything up. But with relationships, well, that was a bit more difficult. Getting along, learning to obey, having a good attitude, those things took more time and energy to teach. And each of those teaching opportunities with my kids was a learning opportunity for me to develop patience, which I needed. And God gave me plenty of chances to learn. In the story of Jonah, God provided plenty of chances for Jonah to learn some important lessons. He taught him right off the bat, you can't run away from God. Now, he would have already known that had he read Psalm 139. It says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there." It could very well say, if I get swallowed by a fish, behold, you are there with me in the belly of that fish. Jonah got that lesson pretty quickly, but the lesson on obedience, doing things the first time, the right way, with the right attitude, Jonah had some trouble with. Even when Jonah did what God told him to do, his heart wasn't right. In that, God's gentle lesson of loving others as He loves us, having compassion and mercy on others, shines forth. Jonah didn't have the advantage of Jesus' model of loving his enemies, but this was one of the Lord's goals to teach him and to teach us through Jonah's story. The Ninevites got this one chance to turn away from their cruelty and evil and accept God's mercy, and they took it. Jonah, however, got multiple chances. God showed him mercy on the ship, modeled by the sailors, pagan though they were, valuing his life, not willing to throw him overboard, even though he was the reason their lives were endangered. At any point, knowing God's merciful character, Jonah could have humbled himself, fallen on his face, and repented. Instead, he chose to be thrown into the sea. Again, God had mercy on him. Instead of drowning, the fish God had prepared swallowed him, and he found himself undigested, still alive, given another chance. I wouldn't call Jonah's prayer one of confession and repentance, but he acknowledged who God was and promised to obey. Again, God provided Jonah with another chance as the fish spat him out. Jonah made the journey to Nineveh, gave God's message, and waited for their destruction. When it didn't come because of their repentance, Jonah actually got mad at God for giving them a second chance. Yeah, the same man who was already on his third or fourth chance and still hadn't gotten it right, complained that his enemies had gotten a second chance. So God had to break it down for Jonah. In the 4th chapter, God gently explained how much He loved the Ninevites. As part of His creation, He cared about each and every one of them. I think Paul said it best, as he taught Timothy how this should work out in our lives. When we see someone in opposition to God, instead of hating them and wishing for their destruction, we should correct them in humility. Paul says, if God perhaps will grant them repentance, so that they may know the truth, and that they may come to their senses and escape the snare of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his will. Don't you see the love and compassion that God wanted Jonah and us to learn? The book of Jonah leaves us hanging as to Jonah's response. Did he finally get it? I think he did, since he wrote the book of Jonah. But he hands us the ending and asks us to respond too. How many chances are we willing to give others? We've received grace upon grace. Will we extend grace to others, to friends, family, enemies? To whom in your life would God want you to reach out and give His love and mercy, and maybe even a second chance?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.